The Gold Axe and the Silver Axe. Long ago, in a remote village deep in the mountains, there lived a woodcutter named Dulce. Although all he had was one old iron axe, Dulce climbed the mountain every dawn with that single axe slung over his shoulder. He did not mind the biting dawn wind, nor did he care if it rained or snowed. Even though he was poor, he lived within his means without a single word of complaint. Then, one spring day, as he swung his axe with all his might toward a thick oak tree by the pond, his handle slipped from his sweaty hands.
Oh, no!
The axe left his hand. It spun once in the air with a flash, and then, splash, it was sucked into the middle of the pond. Only ripples spread out in circles. Dulce flopped down right there on the spot.
Oh, dear! How am I supposed to live now?
The pond sparkled brightly as if nothing had happened. That made it feel even more spiteful. Dulce hugged his knees and let out a heavy sigh. Without an axe, he couldn't chop wood. Without wood, he couldn't eat. He was at risk of starving starting tomorrow. As he sat there lamenting for a long time, the surroundings suddenly grew quiet. The birds stopped singing, and the wind died down. Then the surface of the pond began to ripple gently, and a thick white mist started to rise over the water. From within that mist, the water began to stir and part, and a figure slowly rose from beneath the surface. When Dulce looked up, an old man with white hair reaching his waist and eyebrows long enough to touch his ears was standing upon the water. Wearing a white robe and holding a bent old wooden cane, he stood on the misty water as naturally as if it were solid ground. Dulce prostrated himself without even realizing it.
Woodcutter, why are you so sad?
Oh, Your Holiness, Great Spirit, I have dropped my only iron axe into the pond. Without that axe, I cannot chop wood, and if I cannot chop wood, I will starve to death.
Ho, ho! Wait here.
The mountain spirit turned and glided across the water's surface, and as the mist thickened around him, he sank slowly beneath the pond. Dulce waited, not able to even utter a word. After a long while, the surface rippled and the mountain spirit reappeared. In his hands, he held a gold axe, so dazzling it felt like it would pierce one's eyes. It was blinding. Golden light scattered everywhere as if it held the sun itself. Dulce thought that with just that one axe, he could live comfortably for the rest of his life.
Is this your axe?
Dulce's eyes could not leave the gold axe. It was within arm's reach. For a brief, very brief moment, a corner of his heart wavered, but before those divine eyes, Dulce shook his head.
No, Great Spirit, that is not my axe.
Ho, ho! Is that so? Wait here.
The mountain spirit went back into the water. This time, he emerged holding a silver axe that shone coolly like moonlight. The silver light shimmered on the water's surface so beautifully that he almost reached out for it unconsciously.
How about this one?
That is not mine either. My axe was not such a magnificent thing, but an old and rusty iron axe.
Wait here.
The third time the mountain spirit went into the water, he finally brought out a pathetic-looking iron axe, completely rusted with a blunt blade. The moment he saw it, he jumped to his feet.
Yes, yes, that is the one, Great Spirit. That is right. It is my axe.
Dulce took the old iron axe with both hands and hugged it tightly to his chest. The mountain spirit watched Dulce silently, and a faint smile spread across his lips.
Woodcutter, I have protected this mountain for hundreds of years. It has been truly rare to find someone who says no, even with a gold and silver axe before their eyes. I, this old spirit, have seen that your heart is upright and honest. That iron axe is yours, so take it, and take these as well.
The mountain spirit handed over the gold axe and the silver axe one by one. With a dazed expression, Dulce bowed repeatedly while holding the 3 axes in his arms. When he looked up, the mountain spirit had already vanished into the mist. Only a gust of wind passed through the pine trees. That evening, the village was turned upside down. The rumor that Dulce had appeared with a gold and silver axe spread in an instant. And that rumor eventually reached the ears of the biggest greedy man in the village, Sweduki. Sweduki was so upset he would throw his spoon while eating and jump out of bed while sleeping. They say your stomach hurts when your cousin buys land, but hearing that his neighbor Dulce got a gold axe made his insides twist.
Oh, my stomach! Ouch, my stomach! That stupid Dulce got a gold axe? What sin did I commit in my past life to have to witness such a thing?
Sweduki paced around his room all night with bloodshot eyes. Then, suddenly seeing his own axe hanging on the wall, he slapped his knee. A sinister smile spread across his lips.
Wait, the mountain spirit gives a gold axe if you drop an axe, right? Then I can't just sit still. If I throw an axe much better than Dulce's, won't the spirit be impressed and give me 2, no 3 gold axes?
Blinded by greed, Sweduki couldn't see anything else. He grabbed a perfectly fine, sharp axe and rushed to the mountain before sunrise. As soon as he arrived at the pond, he glanced around and, without hesitation, threw the axe into the middle of the pond with all his might.
Yeah!
Then he flopped down by the pond and covered his face with both hands.
Oh no! Oh no! My axe! My only axe has fallen into the pond! Oh, woe is me!
Somehow his wailing sounded rather vigorous. He peeked through his fingers at the pond, waiting impatiently for the mountain spirit to appear. Then, as expected, the surface of the pond rippled, white mist rose, and the mountain spirit appeared. Sweduki thought, "This is it," and cried even louder.
Woodcutter, what is the matter?
Yes, Great Spirit, I have dropped my only axe into the pond. Boo-hoo! How am I supposed to live now? Boo-hoo!
The mountain spirit stared down at Sweduki for a long time, with that long gaze without saying a word. Sweduki felt that gaze was somehow stinging and subtly turned his head away.
Wait here.
The mountain spirit went into the water and came out holding a gold axe. It was glittering. The golden light poured into Sweduki's 2 eyes. Sweduki felt his mouth watering.
Is this your axe?
Yes, that is right. That is exactly my axe. Please, give it to me quickly.
It was at that moment the mountain spirit's face froze coldly. The energy that was like spring sunshine vanished instantly, and a silence as cold and heavy as a winter mountain settled in its place. His 2 eyes beneath his eyebrows flashed like lightning.
Thou art lying.
No, really, my axe!
I have guarded this mountain for hundreds of years. I know what you brought and with what heart you threw it. To try to steal the fortune of an honest man only to lose your own. This is the law of heaven.
The mountain spirit took back the gold axe and turned around. His robe fluttered once and vanished into the mist. The iron axe was gone with him as well.
Great Spirit! Great Spirit! Just once! I was wrong! Please!
The mountain gave no answer. Only the wind blew softly, and the pond merely sparkled clearly. Sweduki stood there for a long time before trudging down the mountain empty-handed. Not getting the gold axe was bitter enough, but the fact that even his iron axe was sleeping peacefully in the pond made his steps even heavier. After that day, Dulce sold the gold and silver axes, bought a small plot of land, shared with his neighbors, and lived happily for a long, long time. And what about Sweduki? He couldn't lift his head for a while from shame, but that seemed to be good medicine. From then on, his habit of coveting other people's things completely disappeared. Even now, they say mist rises from that pond deep in the mountains in the spring. If an old man with a long white beard walks out of that mist, please keep your heart upright, because they say no lie can be hidden before that gaze. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. I will be back with another interesting Korean folktale.